Hello, I'm Juliette Mann. Welcome to Global Business Europe. Our top stories. China's economy loses some momentum, but high-tech manufacturing continues to power growth. Chinese tech giant DJI gets another day in court as US blacklist battle goes back for review.
China remains an incredibly important market for us, so it's important that we get our brand out there, and Formula E provides a great platform for us to do just that.
Jaguar puts its electric ambitions on the China grid after winning a major racing title. And lights, camera, AI. A Chinese star turns herself into a digital double. High-tech manufacturing has helped drive China's growth, according to Beijing's latest economic data. But weak property investment and retail sales continue to weigh on the economy. Let's take a closer look. Industrial output rose 4.5% year-on-year in July. In the first 7 months, it was up 5.3%, with nearly half of that growth coming from high-tech and advanced manufacturing. Strong demand from infrastructure projects pushed rail locomotive production up by more than 90%. And rising demand for AI-related products sent integrated circuit output soaring by nearly 110%, while production of smart wearable devices doubled. High-tech manufacturing also kept pace over the first 7 months of the year. Production of 3D printers, lithium batteries and industrial robots rose by 52%, 40% and 28% respectively. Now, despite industrial sector strength, other parts of the economy remain weaker. Retail sales growth slowed from 1% to 0.6% in July. The unemployment rate edged up from 5 to 5.2%, and real estate investment fell by nearly 20% in the first 7 months of the year. Chinese Premier Li Qiang has called for more to be done to meet this year's economic growth target. Warning of growing external challenges, he called for overseas demand to be stabilised and for new trade opportunities to be explored. He also stressed the need to develop new pillar industries and to unlock more potential in domestic demand. Mark Oswald is the Chief Economist and Global Strategist at Global Investment Service Institute, ADM. Always fabulous to have you on Global Business Europe, Mark. Right, so Li Qiang says that China needs to stabilise external demand and keep that growth on track. Looking at the numbers, where is that growth actually coming from?
Well, as you highlighted, a lot of it's coming from the high-tech sector. From the auto sector, though not from domestic demand for autos, but external demand, and anything to do with clean energy. That's where all the strength is. The problem is, and there's a direct line here between the weakness in property investment and a lack of consumer spending on household goods. When you've had this sort of a lengthy downturn, that's now lasted more than 3 years in property investment. You know, as much as there have been a lot of subsidy programs of what one might call the cash for trash, i.e. getting people to upgrade their equipment. What you really need to keep high-ticket household spending going is for people to be buying new properties.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you're mentioning property, you're mentioning consumer spending. Those headline numbers this month are soft, but underneath them, exports of semiconductors and all that tech stuff have nearly doubled this year. So is China's growth engine simply changing shape rather than stalling?
It is changing shape, but the weakness in domestic demand has to be a concern. Yeah. One would hope that in a booming external demand environment, i.e. strong exports, particularly to non-EU, non-North America countries, that is growing very, very well, also within Asia. But you need stronger domestic demand. And part of the problem is that the weakness in traditional sectors is weighing on wage growth, and that discouraged people from spending. One has to add that this particular month, one also has to take into consideration that quite a lot of the weakness was due to the 3 typhoons, which disrupted manufacturing. That would have been a lot stronger had it not been for that, and it also disrupted consumer spending.
How much of China's industrial growth now is that?
Quite on the back of that. It's sustainable, certainly for I would say at least probably 12 to 18 months. We are going to get to a point with all the AI investment, and particularly given the tensions there between the much cheaper in terms of usage Chinese AI models and the US models, which are that much more expensive to deploy, which will create some disinflation, and therefore the numbers will come down. At the moment, one also has to add that a lot of the export numbers out of Asia are very impressive, but the value numbers, and part of that is due to the fact that semiconductor prices are up by a factor of almost 5 since a year ago.
Well, I'm looking forward to talking about more Chinese data with you, because we have that consumer conversation all the time, but it'd be interesting to see what happens with prices. Mark Oswald, thank you. Shenzhen in southern China is known as the country's tech capital, but it wasn't always that way. In the 1970s, it was a collection of fishing villages. Then, in 1980, it became China's first special economic zone, setting the stage for its transformation into a global technology and innovation hub. Now, that shift towards free market policies became a symbol of China's economic transformation and sent Shenzhen's population soaring from around 300,000 to some 18 million today. Shenzhen has been China's top exporting city for more than 3 decades. Last year alone, it exported more than $400 billion worth of goods. Its main exports are consumer electronics, electric vehicles, robotics and computers. Shenzhen's huge electronics market is turning the city into a destination for tech lovers from around the world. Hong Fei reports.
For a growing number of overseas visitors, one of Shenzhen's biggest attractions is this, Huaqiangbei. It's often described as the world's largest electronics marketplace, and it has become a destination where tourists, creators, and small business owners come looking for China's latest consumer technologies.
On TikTok, I just browse about the interesting places to visit in Shenzhen, and it brought me here. AI plush, so it's very new for me. So I'm buying this to try.
AR glasses, laptop, we want to watch rugby on a bigger TV because this TV is too small.
And price is only part of the advantage of shopping at Huaqiangbei.
I was surprised the price is more than the Meta Ray-Bans. Screen is better, translation is way better. I mean, when this gentleman was talking in Chinese, I could read exactly what he was saying. It was pretty cool.
For entrepreneurs and small businesses, Huaqiangbei is more than a marketplace. Within less than 1.5 square kilometers, manufacturers, component suppliers, software developers, and distributors work side by side. That allows ideas to move from concept to prototype and from prototype to market in a matter of days.
It's really quick for you to develop a product here. If you need a sample made or go to a company that matches hardware with software, they might even work overnight to get this done for you, as long as you have the volume and the demand.
Zhang Guoping's company was among the first to launch this dual-screen AI translator. Working closely with nearby software developers and hardware suppliers, his team continuously updates the product based on feedback from overseas customers, adding new features as market demand evolves.
Design in the morning, prototype in the afternoon, mass production the next day, and global shipment within a week. Such speed of Huaqiangbei is indeed representative of the Shenzhen speed. This is because Huaqiangbei boasts a complete electronic information industry chain accumulated over 40 years, as well as advanced manufacturing and service sectors. The integration and synergy of these two driving forces have made such a remarkable achievement possible.
That speed has helped Huaqiangbei become one of China's most internationally connected business districts. Xu said that nearly 8,000 overseas buyers visit the market every day to source products or explore business opportunities. As Shenzhen prepares to host this year's APEC meetings, Huaqiangbei is upgrading multilingual services, digital payment options, and visitor facilities to better serve international guests. Huang Fei, CGTN, Shenzhen, Guangdong Province.
Chinese drone maker DJI has won a key victory in its fight to be removed from the Pentagon's blacklist. A US appeals court has ruled that a lower court relied solely on unclassified records to strike down DJI's case. Our correspondent Mitch McGann is in New York. Hi there, Mitch. So, this is interesting stuff, isn't it? They've been disputing its place on this blacklist for years now. I mean, is this a breakthrough for the company?
Yeah, hi, Juliet. Look, it could eventually be a breakthrough, but for now it doesn't mean that DJI has been removed from the Pentagon's blacklist just yet. The Pentagon placed the company on the list a couple of years ago, claiming it's one of a number of companies allegedly supporting or a risk to national security in the US, rather. DJI has always contested that. It has said that that designation from the Pentagon by the government in the US was unlawful, it was misguided, and they say it's resulted in having lost business deals, been stigmatized as a national security threat, and they say that it's been banned from contracting with multiple federal government agencies. Of course, that would hurt its business. Now, an appeals court, as you mentioned, has ruled that public evidence, or what it calls an unclassified record, did not support the Defence Department's conclusion that the DJI contributes or is a threat to national security, and it says classified information should also be considered. Now, the appeals court has asked the lower court to review the blacklist decision, so it could potentially be taken off the list at some point in the future. That would be significant, obviously, for DJI. It's important to note that there are many recreational drone users here, of course, in the United States that are still able to use many DJI products, especially those that were already introduced to the market before this ban was in place a couple of years ago. So it won't affect those recreational users, but any new drones that come out under this ban would not be able to be sold in the US. So this is a story we'll be watching very closely as the lower court has to make a decision around whether or not it stays on that blacklist or not.
Mitch, let's talk currency, because the dollar's fallen. I think it's the lowest level we've seen in 2 months. A rate hike, a dropping. Talk us through how you see it.
Yeah, that is the case. I mean, over the last couple of weeks, we have seen a series of reports that have come out that would likely discourage the Federal Reserve from hiking interest rates. Now, data shows that retail sales have dropped. Inflation looks as if it might be stalling. It may have peaked somewhat, some have suggested. So that might be good news for some investors concerned about a potential rate hike. But yes, it has meant that is less likely. Buying US dollars also becomes slightly less attractive, and it affects the dollar. So the US dollar index, which measures the strength of the US dollar against actually a range of currencies, is about $99.52 when I last looked a short time ago. So yes, that is a 2-month low. According to CME, the FedWatch tool, which I often talk about, there is a 69% chance that rates will stay the same at the next meeting. So that is affecting the US dollar. It's unknown how long it's going to affect the US dollar for, but we'll be watching very closely to see if any of more of those jobs or inflation reports, support this fact, or support this theory, rather, that the Fed is unlikely to hike rates at its next meeting.
Mitch McGann in New York, thank you. Let's take a look at some of the other business stories making headlines today. The European Central Bank warns of a possible correction in US AI stocks. French 30-year bond yields have hit their highest level in more than 2 decades. Ferrari's first ever electric car has fetched a record $40 million at a charity auction. And Alibaba has reportedly sold its gaming division to CITIC Capital. This is Global Business Europe. Still ahead. Could AI give actors a whole new stage? We meet the performers creating digital avatars of themselves.
Everything is a business story.
CGTN. See the difference.
We are all connected. Across borders, across continents, connected by ideas, a shared humanity. Stay connected.
Welcome back to Global Business Europe with me, Juliette Mann. The headlines. China's economy loses some momentum, but high-tech manufacturing continues to power growth. Chinese tech giant DJI gets another day in court as the US blackness battle goes back for review. Jaguar TCS Racing has successfully defended its Formula E title in a nail-biting finale in London. The third place from Antonio Felix da Costa in race 16 was followed by a fourth place from Mitch Evans in the final race of 17, meaning that Jaguar held off Porsche to secure this season's team's championship. Our correspondent Michael Murillo spoke to Jaguar team principal Ian James.
Ian, motor racing fans may be asking the question, why should I watch Formula E when I can watch Formula One? How would you respond to that question?
Our races are typically shorter, so about 45 minutes. So it's something that, especially in this day and age, I think is easier to digest. A huge amount of overtaking, which you don't necessarily get in Formula One anymore. So a lot more action. And I think from a strategic perspective, actually it adds a little bit more as well. So there's certain elements. We have something called attack mode, which we've had for a number of years now, which really gives us sort of strategic challenge to the teams, adds a little bit more excitement into the races. And then we have two different race formats at the moment. We have what we call a pit boost race, where we come into the pit stops for additional energy. And then we have other more traditional races where we don't stop during the race. And again, that adds a different challenge from a strategic perspective, which I think from a fan point of view can also be of interest.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Now, the races offer a chance for car makers to market themselves to the general public. How does Formula E help Jaguar to grow its brand?
We're about to launch Type 01, which is going to be the first in our new product lineup as we go into a new age, which is a new chapter, if you like, where we're now going to be a fully EV brand. So I think, again, the connection between what we do on the racetrack in Formula E and the road car side of the business is stronger than ever. And it obviously goes beyond just a marketing exercise. Our engineers are working together, both on the racing side as well as the automotive side, to make sure that we can really capitalize on the knowledge and the technology transfer that we get in both directions.
China is a huge consumer market, electric vehicles, very popular in that country. What do you think China means for the growth of Formula E?
It's very rare that you actually see anything other than an EV driving around. So we can see that growth potential coming through there. China remains an incredibly important market for us. So it's important that we get our brand out there, and Formula E provides a great platform for us to do just that.
Do you think that a Chinese team will be part of Formula E in the next few years?
I think it's only a matter of time, and I welcome it with open arms. I think the competition would be fantastic. But I think that they also recognise just how competitive the championship is, and they will want to come in and be competitive themselves, and that's not done overnight. So I would anticipate that if somebody's going to be looking at coming in, they're going to be doing their homework in the background and probably spending some time really understanding what it's going to take to compete with the likes of Jaguar, Porsche, Nissan, Mahindra, and the rest out there, and then making sure that they can hit the ground running.
Talk to us about the use of artificial intelligence in Formula E. How has that helped to enhance the technology inside the cars?
With Formula E, we actually have 30 operational personnel at a track, which is an incredibly small team. And it means that we need to rely on other tools, other systems such as AI to be able to develop at the speed that we want to develop. We're going to be leaning heavier into AI as we go forward, really making sure that we leverage that. And the championship welcomes that as well. I think we want to be at the cutting edge of technology. So it's going to be exciting to see what we can do to really get the most value out of that in the coming years.
Valentin Debise, superbike racer for China's motorcycle startup Zhangzhou Motorcycles, is enjoying his first trip to the country. Debise met brand owner Zhangzhou and test rode the new MX250 racing model in Chongqing. The French rider has won 6 races in this year's World Superbike Championship. DeBees says Jiangchu's focus on quality sets it apart from rival manufacturers.
The main difference is that the reactivity of the factory, it's incredible. As soon as we face an issue or we have some question, they are able to answer in a very quick way and in a very good way every time. So I think that's the spirit of the factory, and so because of this spirit, that's what makes the difference compared to the other manufacturer, and that's why together we were able to get some victories.
Chinese billionaire Li Shufu is stepping down as chairman of Geely Auto in a leadership shake-up at one of China's biggest car makers. The 63-year-old founder will be replaced by executive director An Konghui, while Joey Gan will become CEO. The move comes as Geely reported record first-half revenue despite a 2% drop in net profit. Japan's economy grew more slowly than expected in the second quarter, expanding at an annualized rate of 1.1%. But the bigger concern for markets is inflation, with the 10-year bond yield hitting a 30-year high. And despite the weak growth numbers, the Bank of Japan could still raise rates as early as next month. Chinese humanoid robotics company Unitree has unveiled its new Superman robot. It can jump more than 2 meters high and reach a top speed of 12.66 meters per second, outperforming human records in both standing jump and running speed. The company makes its Shanghai stock market debut on Wednesday after raising more than $900 million in its IPO. Chinese actress Qi Wei has created a digital version of herself for AI-generated films. She's one of the first mainstream Chinese actors to license her digital likeness. Our correspondent Siobhan McCall has more. At least I think it's Siobhan, or are you an avatar?
That is the question, Juliet. Well, this is Qi Wei's digital twin, who is playing Han Qingxia, the star of AI comic drama Endless Summer Apocalypse. To create the avatar, designers used images and videos of Qi Wei from across her acting career. So it's a way for actors to potentially star in one film in real life and use their digital twin to appear in another, like here. And it can also extend actors' careers and open up other career paths. 62-year-old Hong Kong actor Lawrence Ng, for example, has sold the rights to his likeness to a production company which has recreated a 20-year-old version of him using AI. And this comes as China's AI microdrama industry is experiencing rapid growth. More than 95% of new releases in the last 6 months have been AI generated. And it's big business because the AI short drama market is projected to hit close to $6 billion in value this year, after generating more than $3 billion in profit in just 5 months. Well, Kelsey Farish is a media and entertainment lawyer. Kelsey, welcome to the programme. How significant do you think that this could be as a business model for actors to have these digital avatars?
As a business model, it's a really exciting opportunity because it allows actors to do projects that maybe they wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. But the other thing, too, is that it means that producers and audiences get a chance to see these actors in more content. So it can be a win-win for everyone involved, provided that the rights are protected.
One thing that struck me is, while this could be a great plan for experienced actors that we recognise, what about young ones that are trying to break through? Is that blocking off entry opportunities for them?
It can in some ways, but I would argue that those roles, they fulfill different objectives, right? If you are a young actor who's trying to break into a scene and you have a particular skill set or a particular look, just because a different actor has a digital avatar doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to take that job away from you. What I would say to those who are starting out in the industry is it is never too early to do what you can to protect your likeness. This is what the whole licensing regime is about. It's so that we have some proper mechanisms in place to pay people and to respect their wishes when it comes to the use of AI and their likeness.
So do you think these digital replicas of established actors have a stronger future in the industry than, say, just actors entirely created by AI?
I think at the end of the day, most audiences, when they go to see a film or even a microdrama, the verticals are becoming more and more popular. I think there's something resonant and special about knowing that who you are seeing is actually a real person. Yes, they might be modified with CGI or VFX or even sophisticated AI technologies, but we still know that we are seeing a real person rather than a synthetic human that doesn't actually exist. And I think that audiences do care about that.
You mentioned there about the AI microdramas. They are booming in China, and they're also helping with cutting production costs, cutting production times. But what are the drawbacks of these?
The drawbacks of the microdramas, I think, is that a lot of the detail gets muddied. And because there's so much content being pushed out at such a rapid rate, some people kind of look over the very real fine print, or the things that should be in fine print, things like intellectual property, reputation, dignity, payment mechanisms, and so on. It's really tempting sometimes, especially for filmmakers or producers, to say, right, let's take an image of this person and we're going to make some AI crazy thing and we're just going to create a microdrama or churn out 2 minutes worth of content and it's going to go viral. And because they're doing it so quickly, they have a tendency to perhaps, pass over the fact that, well, actually, there's a real person there or a real writer that we need to pay attention to and hopefully pay properly. And that's what my whole practice is about, is empowering storytellers and performers to slow down a little bit and make sure that they can protect themselves and get the credit and payment that they deserve.
And what about for viewers who are so important to the industry? Do you think they'll become more comfortable with AI-generated actors and content going forward?
I'm not sure if they'll become more comfortable with it necessarily. I do think that human replicas and digital replicas and avatars and so on, they are the thing that people are most uneasy about. What I would say is, let's test the market, let's see what audiences react to. But ultimately, we have to be very clear with labeling and transparency. So what I mean by that is, sure, once you get the requisite rights in place with the performer and you agree properly to create some sort of AI avatar of them, don't forget about your audience. And this is exactly what you just hinted at. We need to be labeling this content. We need to be telling people that what they're seeing is AI content, modified or generated from scratch.
Kelsey, thank you. Kelsey Farish, media and entertainment lawyer. And back to you, Juliet.
So interesting. Oh, gosh, we're going to have this conversation again, I think. Thanks so much, Siobhan. The headlines again. China's economy loses some momentum, but high-tech manufacturing continues to power growth. Chinese tech giant TJI gets another day in court as US blacklist battle goes back for review. And that is it for Global Business Europe. Thanks for watching. Coming up next on CGTN is Africa Live, but we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. From all the team here in London, goodbye.